In this video, we're going to be talking about direction in our swing. Not necessarily how to improve the direction in our swing, more so to give you a better context on what actually good direction is and how it's created, okay? Because this is probably, in my opinion, one of the most misunderstood topics in the swing, because if we approach the swing from this lens that we see the swing through, right? Like our worldview of just the swing itself as everyone's a special snowflake and everything works but everything doesn't, then we're going to have this weird biased opinion that like anything that I say in this video is like kind of okay, but also like whatever this other guy says is probably true too, which in my opinion is just like not good enough. Now, I'm not saying you have to agree with me. You should critically think about everything that I put in every one of my videos and try to disprove me. That's how I've gone about building this entire company, is basically, in my mind, it's like I build a hypothesis by trying to disprove somebody else's technique. That's how I found HLP to begin with. I thought it was dumb. I thought the drills were crazy. And then I related back to my throwing, and I was like, well, I went from throwing 85 miles an hour to 95 miles an hour. I did that largely with constraint drills, you know, backwards chaining and trunking, just like putting the throw together from the end of the throw back, and certain drills constrained one specific segment of the throw. And I later on improved my throw, obviously with the assistance from our weight room, which is a whole nother topic. But that, in my mind, I was like, okay, so this doesn't seem that weird then. Like these drills, they're isolated constraint drills for specific segments of the swing. So I started to see the lens that I viewed the swing from slightly differently because of my previous experiences, like testing, trial and error, and critically thinking about the throw. But for some reason, hitting coaches and even like parents of players and players themselves, like they just don't do that, right? So I'm not saying that you have to just agree with me on what I say right here. Critically think about it. I hope that I can give you enough reasons to like believe that this is what real direction actually is in the swing. Okay, so let's talk about what most people think that good direction is. Most people think good direction is making sure that I have posture over the plate. That's something often talked about, like posture over the plate at contact, this kind of like side bend thing at contact. And then really good direction is like through the ball, like as long as I have some type of extension with my arms through the ball that way. Now, that's viewing the swing though from this lens that what's important is getting the front foot down, having posture over the plate, and then doing this. So if you see, you know, Barry Bonds hitting a home run and he hits a home run and then goes like this, in your mind you're like, well, he can just do it because he's Barry Bonds. Like his front foot slid out like this and he dropped his bat this way and then jogged to first base, and you're like, well, just Barry Bonds, special snowflake, right? Not really, okay? Let's change the lens on how we see direction, and I promise this will make sense, okay? It can't be over the plate, pushing hands through extension in order to have good direction, because all of this, what happens right in here at contact, is predetermined by everything that happened before it. So everything, we have the swing broken down into 3 phases: the readiness phase, the load phase, and then the launch phase, right? And so the readiness is like pre-pitch. Like, do I have the sense and ability in my swing to like actually swing right now, right when I get up to the plate, okay? And then we have like a whole loading scale and a whole system built out for this. But to keep it short and simple and get to the point, the next phase is going to be the load phase. And then in the load phase is usually where most of the common things break down to throw off your direction or to throw off your launch phase, which also affects your direction, right? And so in our mind, what direction actually is, based off the thousands of hitters that we've worked with, is it happens at launch. And so everything after launch can no longer be controlled. Imagine now, with that as my viewpoint of what swing direction is, and I'll tell you like how we go about that process, but if that's my viewpoint, then that means that I can't really have good swing direction by making sure that I do all this other stuff, and then it's like now posture over the plate, now push my arms, and it's like this part is good direction, because then it's gonna affect my training economy. Then I'm gonna go into the cage, or if I'm a coach, I'm gonna give constraint drills to kids based off of this being the way that I see the swing through. Like that's what good direction is. And so now all of a sudden, all these drills, you can do all of our drills, but if you do them from that lens and you don't have a paradigm shift on how you actually see the swing, or you don't understand like the phases of the swing, then you can do all of our drills and do them all wrong. all the time, which happens so much. I can't even tell you, it happens so much, right? If that's my perception of what good direction is posture over the plate, pushing through extension, right? Or just, I shouldn't say pushing because people don't think that's pushing, but we do. Is just making sure my arms get extended through the ball towards like the opposite side field. That means my 3/4 open stretch and fire, which gets brutally just beaten up on social media from everyone trying to do it, will look something more like this when I do it, right? My snap stops will be forcing, actually pushing through the zone, because my attempt will be to try to do stuff like this in order to create good direction. But that's not going to affect my actual direction, okay? What actually affects my direction is how I load and then how I launch. So if I have a really quality load, that means that I have the ability to swing at ball release so I can adjust to fast or slow, meaning I'm not gonna be lunging, I'm not gonna be trying to shift my weight, get it into the front foot and then worry about posture and direction with my arms like this. No, everything's gonna be affected by how I actually load to make sure I have the ability to swing at pitch release, and then how I launch in that moment is where my direction is created. And so I'm not gonna give you a bunch of drills to do, I just want you to understand that when we're working on the out from oppo feel in order to get good direction, what we're really working on is making sure that when we turn the barrel, we're turning the barrel with this attempt that our barrel is gonna be spinning like this out towards the opposite field at launch, okay? Not after launch, not over the plate, at launch. All right, meaning right when I pull the trigger right here, my barrel line right in here. So imagine like there's a laser coming out of my knob. It's gonna like laser the second baseman. That's my attempt at launch because it happens so fast. So I have to be able to do this stuff immediately right when I pull the trigger, okay? That's going to affect my direction with my barrel. Now, imagine I launch, okay? If I launch like that and I have that type of direction, right? My knob's kind of coming up towards second base as I'm tilting and turning, and then my arms are coming right in here. Like I have the ability to launch out from my body, regardless of what my front foot does, regardless of my posture at contact or after, regardless if I lean back. Like my direction at launch was quality for me to be able to make contact with that outside pitch. You see what I'm saying? So that can affect my direction. My rear leg can also affect my direction. So one of the other main points that we work on in all of our constraint drills is having this rear hip socket explode towards the opposite field at launch. So now imagine when I get cornered around my rear leg, I'm just gonna put my toe down for the sake of demonstrating everything kind of slow. And then I turn my barrel towards second base and I launch my rear leg towards second base as a right-handed hitter. All of a sudden I create this good direction. So regardless of what happens at contact with me over the plate or after, I can't control that because my direction was actually created within my loading phase and within my launch phase. So that's what quality direction actually is. But I'm not gonna be able to see that in any of the videos that we produce or in any of the content that I see online. I'm not gonna be able to see that if my lens that I view the swing from is from all this other bogus stuff that is put out there just from coaches basically dipping and dabbling on social media, trying to find the next unlock in content in order to, get a client to book a call. Like, if that's how critically I actually think about the swing, that everybody's a special snowflake, I agree with everything, I disagree with everything, because, this guy played pro and he says XYZ, then I'm not like thinking deep enough, like there's layers to it. To keep this video short and sweet and right to the point, the direction of your swing is largely emphasized by how you load and how you launch. Everything after that does not matter whatsoever, because at contact, what I do right when I actually get to the ball is determined by everything that happened before. I don't have enough time in my life to control what I do from right here. Like I just don't. And if I try to, I'm going to have a lower level technique comparative to a higher level technique that buys me more time so I can make better decisions and have good direction. Okay, so that was the main emphasis of this video. And if you guys are interested in learning more about our systems, how we go about teaching other coaches, teaching other athletes, there is a link down below. Go ahead, check that out. Talk to you guys soon.